do you want to start this one?
Just like this. Just keep it awkward. Then when you start entering the intro and start like ha 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 ha. Oh, so how? Well, we were just talking about. You know what I mean? And there's literally nothing.
How did the last one start?
So
you said
where's your wife?
No.
Yeah,
But
where's
you
your
said
wife?
there was something in the intro that you said that was like right before it switched transitions. Before I started talking about your wife.
I don't know. How about we talk about your fiance?
I think she's doing homework. She has to dissect a toad this weekend.
Wasn't that
Or it's
last
a
weekend?
frog. No, that was
Starfish.
We did a starfish. I think
Now you're going from so it goes starfish, frog, then human, or rat, or then human.
No, I think that's it after the frog.
No
Unfortunately.
rat.
No. There's no rat. No rat. Although we could do that, we already have them because we feed them to the snake. Oh, those are mice.
Do you really?
Yeah, we have mice.
Okay.
They're not alive. They're dead. They're frozen.
They're dead.
Yeah, they actually give them like a gas. So they put them in like an enclosure, and they mix the perfect amount of, I guess, CO2 into the thing, and they fall asleep, and then they pump the CO2 into them, and then they die peacefully in their sleep. It's a necessary evil. I think a lot of people, there's a decent amount of people out there who actually feed their snakes like live feed.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people don't do that. I don't do that. It's not good for the snake. And people are like, well, they do this in the wild. And it's like, that's true, but, these are not wild snakes. They're bred snakes,
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Well, it's like a rat. Dude, your rat could, like, literally rip a snake apart. Like, if he gets stuck at any point or the snake doesn't take him down immediately, he's going to bite chunks out of your snake easily. You know what I mean? Scratch him up, rip his throat open, all that stuff. It happens. Like,
yeah.
I've seen people who've put food in there, not sat there, come back to find their snake literally dead. The rat killed it, just ate it, because the snake wasn't hungry.
Wow.
It's just like, come on, man. Come on. Stop feeding your snakes. Don't feed them. Don't feed them. Don't stop feeding your snakes.
Don't stop feeding your snakes.
Stop feeding your snakes live feed. That's all I'm saying. They don't need it. Just feed them dead stuff.
I wouldn't know the difference, really. Like, I've never had a snake, so.
This is my first one. Well, technically, I've had one already for the longest time, but the other one,
Yeah.
I'm like looking over there now, like, what the fuck is he doing? He's sleeping, probably. It's been cold, and they get kind of weird once it starts getting cold. Yeah. Stop eating and shit sometimes. These ball pythons. Anyways, what have you been up to lately? What's going on with you?
Nothing, man. Just lately been spending some family time, getting some projects finished before a slew of new projects come up.
Speaking of slew of new projects, we got something coming up.
That's true.
I mean, depending on when this comes out, I guess we could talk about it, right?
I mean, we could talk about it. You could actually even, like, in post, put the logo right here on the screen. You know what I mean?
Yo, here it is. Now just wait for, like, me to forget.
We're just, like, doing magic fingers here for nothing. There's like, nothing on screen.
It's like, bam, bam, stuff, here, boom. It's just nothing. Just nothing. No big deal. But, yeah, man, I think, like, lately, anyways, we've been looking at all the Pokemon leaks. Now, before we get into that, we're not going to show anything. We're not going to say anything specifically about the leaks. So if you're worried about that, you're good. We're not going to talk about it. Like, we're not going to show anything. We're not necessarily going to talk about leaks. There's no story leaks or anything like that. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to talk about, like, essentially
the process,
how it leaked, how it leaked, the way that it leaked, and why games. You get the gist of it. There'll be no spoilers in this.
Yeah, so just in case you guys are wondering, again, no spoilers. We're not even going to talk about, like, the leaks themselves entirely. Like, I don't think we're even mentioning what we saw, right? We're just going to mention the process of how everything broke down.
We can say, like, what leaked. Like, obviously, I think people know at this point that, like, Final Evolutions leaked. Not going to describe them or anything. We could say what leaked, just not, some new Pokemon, some Gigantamax forms, things like that. So that's basically everything that leaked. I mean, in a nutshell, real quick, that's what leaked. We're not going to say which ones or anything like that. We just kind of want to talk about, like, how this all went down.
Yeah.
Without disclosing the place that it went down. because we were
Yeah, we're not going to disclose the place, but we could just say where, but not specifically where.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are familiar with. But anyways, we've already gave you enough time to like, if you guys just don't even want to know,
Yeah.
to just click away or click forward. So basically, when was this? Yesterday. So today is the 2nd. So November 1st.
Yeah.
Literally the day after Halloween.
15, like literally as soon as the month hit that the games are coming out, it was like bam, leaks.
Exactly. It wasn't like 2 days after the preload started.
The day after.
2 days after.
Literally.
The day after.
No wait.
Yeah.
Was it?
No, I think they started like on a Tuesday or Thursday, or Tuesday or Wednesday, right?
Oh yeah, you might be right.
It don't matter. But it's funny because people are saying, you can't data mine preloads, which in theory is true. Like in theory, yes, you can't technically, but you can. It's just you're not gonna do it in a reasonable time frame, even with the like quote unquote proper tools that you might need. You're not gonna get it done.
Yeah.
It's just so many layers of encryption. I used to do a lot of this stuff back when I was in the military, working with a secret network, secret projects, classified information. And there was this type of encryption. There's a better encryption as well, but there are ways to get around it, get through it, and break through. But obviously, that's not like easily accessible tools for anybody, for your common average Pokemon leaker to just, oh yeah, I know how to bypass, all this encryption. That's not a thing.
It was funny because like one of the Discords that we're in, we were actually talking about, well, if we had a quantum computer, technically we could break the key easily. And then we were like posting links to different sites that have like cloud-based quantum computing and stuff like that.
Just joking around.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it is interesting, like, the extent that companies will go through to keep people from getting their hands on the data, but at the same time, the real problem ended up being review copies. And, because at this point, the games come out we're recording this on the 2nd, so 13 days from now.
13 days. Yep.
13 days. Those games need to be out the door soon, if they're not already.
And there's a few people that I know like that used to work at FedEx, other people that used to work at UPS, and they would say yes, like a lot, not everywhere. It's not like you go to your local shop and your games will be there right now. No, that's not the case. But there's a lot of places that yes, they do have to carry these games X amount of weeks beforehand because either A, the like that amount of time it takes to ship to them is too long.
Yeah.
B, like where they're at locally is like too far in for like your delivery truck to just make a trip every day or on an off day. So a lot of places get them the day of. I know my local shop gets the games not the day of, but the day before. They get them the day before. So like it's Friday. If this game releases on a Friday, they will get it on that Thursday night, Thursday day, going to the night, like evening time.
Yeah.
It's a weird delivery for them.
Yeah.
So it ends up being review copies that go out or physical copies from stores. Always. There was this time, I don't think it was necessarily Pokemon. I think it was Call of Duty a few years back, where like a delivery truck, just like the door opened up or something and a bunch of copies just fell out of the back of the truck.
That's what they told you?
That's what they say, right?
It fell off the back of the truck, seems like.
It just fell off the back of the truck, apparently.
That's what everyone says, but like legitimately actually fell off the back of the truck.
But it's like obviously it wasn't a data mine or anything like that. It was just, at the end of the day, we're assuming review copy, probably like a brick and mortar store copy, probably. Yeah. But it seems likely to be a review copy because we're at the time where you're 2 weeks away. A game like Pokemon, you probably need to do like over 20 hours to get through the whole game.
Yeah, for sure. And we don't even know because these games are arguably going to be the biggest ones yet. So, I mean, if you've played a Pokemon
I wouldn't be
game,
surprised. Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like, for example, let's say this is, I don't know, some review place in Indonesia, Japan, China. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, your local, like, United States, IGN, GameSpot, they got their copies this week. The week this video is coming out, if they haven't already.
Had them because they already put out reviews. A lot of them, not reviews, but a lot of them put out that early footage and stuff. So they've had,
Yeah. And then the thing is, like, whether or not it's a physical copy that they're going to get to review or if they're going to get, like, a digital code. Because nowadays, developers are moving over to, like, hey, we'll just email you a code, and that's how you're going to do your review. It's a lot easier for us to track. It's a lot easier for you to receive the game.
And you can't get rid of it. You can't give it to somebody else, Yeah. And it's the same thing with, like, another source of these leaks has been a official guidebook, or at least, some kind of book. I don't know that it's an official guidebook because it seems like the amount of stuff that's come from it has been not a ton. And I feel like if it was an official guidebook, I feel like there'd be so much more. I don't know.
And,
I'm not really
yeah.
100% sure. It feels
So
like it's just
basically,
small, like a small amount.
yeah, it's really weird. And basically, all of this can be found on a bunch of different places.
Yeah.
But the moment it was actually breaking down. You and I were actually watching it go down live on a
Yeah.
Discord channel.
Yes.
We're not going to name the channel, obviously, for reasons.
Yeah.
And it was funny because you have the person that is putting this information out, and you have thousands, I want to say, maybe hundreds of people just.
Once it started going out on 4chan where the leaks were happening,
Yes.
the Discord server started exploding with people, and it was just like pandemonium. It was insane. It was honestly like the crazy. It looked like, have you ever been into a chat of a streamer that has like 40,000 viewers and they're all talking? That's what it looked like.
With no slowdown mode.
Yeah. I saw it get enabled once, and then they turned it off. So I was like, all right, well.
Yeah. So basically, there was at one point, quote unquote, 2 leakers for you guys to know. One person that apparently had a copy of the game, and then one person that had the guidebook, a quote unquote, because apparently even the guidebook, some of the images were fake. So at this point, you still have to take a lot of these things with like a huge grain of salt, because you don't know what is mixed in with proper and improper information.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think like it's crazy because like obviously those books, you know, they get shipped out and they're probably not thought of as important. You know, like
yeah,
it's like Barnes and Noble. You know, nobody at Barnes and Noble is like, oh well, I guess they probably have to deal with stuff like that all the time though. You know,
probably.
Because think about it, like when a new like Game of Thrones or Harry Potter or something like that comes out, it's got to be just as like the people are just as ravenous to get their hands on it. So it's
well, I think it's just depending on how popular the franchise is, the media franchise that we're talking about. Because and we'll go back to video games for a second. You don't see this type of stuff happening for Yokai Watch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it happened for Luigi's Mansion. Nobody gave a shit.
Not really, but like there's I can see people getting excited for Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like I like Luigi's Mansion, and I didn't even look because I was like, I don't really care. Like I'm just gonna play it. But Pokemon.
I guess another game that would be big would be like Grand Theft Auto. Like if we were gonna get a Grand Theft Auto 6, I'm pretty sure like whenever that game's about to ship, that thing's gonna it's gonna be all over the place, leaking, you know, being hijacked. People literally creating Grand Theft Auto to get it, recreating it.
Yeah, stuff like that I could see. I don't know. There's not really a lot of games that, like, Legend of Zelda would be one that would leak.
Legend of Zelda would probably be one. I think Call of Duties are in there. Not as much as of late, but I think now that Modern Warfare is out, maybe. They've already kind of data mined the next, 38 maps. They found them on PC files for Call of Duty. So,
Death Stranding?
Death Stranding, yeah. We got to talk about Death Stranding.
Do you want to talk about it now? Or?
Well, yeah, let's segue let's just go over Death Stranding. So that's how the game's leaked, kind of, guys. We're going to talk about Death Stranding. Again, no spoilers. Spoilers are done.
So we've kind of been looking over Death Stranding because we were talking about it earlier, and there seems to be this weird dilemma with Death Stranding where, like, people are just kind of flat out saying, like, and, like, me and Curse talked about this earlier, neither one of us are particularly huge Hideo Kojima fans. Like, I don't not like his work or dislike him at all. I'm just not like a Metal Gear hype person. Like, I'm not a fanboy of Metal Gear. I played the 5th one. I played a couple of the other ones. They're pretty good. I like them. But that's like as far as it goes. It's not like crazy.
And I don't necessarily hate him at all either. I mean, I appreciate everything he's done, like in the industry, in the gaming industry, and like definitely like props. But in terms of like the games, I've played them. I'm just like, okay, cool. It's not like the best game in the world for me. And when I saw Death Stranding like the first time, I was like, this has potential, because obviously there's like no gameplay attached to it. But then when we saw the gameplay, I was like, yeah, that's gonna be a hard no for me personally. Like,
let me just say too, as we're looking down this list, I can't promise you what's in these reviews. I don't know what people have put. Like, as far as like if there's a spoiler in there, I would assume probably not. But just a word of warning, there could be stuff in the comments. So if you don't want to look at it, just don't read what's on there. Just look at the score. I mean, it's pretty simple. But it's funny because you see it's like 100, 100, 95, 90, 87, or 80. Or 87, 80, 35. This guy says, Death Stranding is an irredeemable piece of garbage that should serve as a warning to publishers who give developers... What is this? Carte blanche? Do you know what that is?
Carte blanche to create art? I don't know. I'm reading it right now.
What does carte blanche mean? Am I just a Mongoloid?
I'm gonna check it. There's complete freedom.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yep.
Wow, this guy couldn't have just wrote that. What a fucking really asswipe. They're like, oh, let me use this fancy word.
But this is the thing, right? So all these 100 reviews, right? Again, I don't want to sound like a perfectionist, right? But I don't believe that anything is ever perfect, especially when something that it's subjective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no way all these got like I get it. You think the game's perfect, got it, granted. But I don't think anything really deserves a 100. Not even like any of like if you look at any review sites top 10 like rated 10 out of 10 games, I don't think any of them deserve a 10 out of 10. I'd probably say a 9.
Like
I'd probably say amazing.
This is literally just a dick-sucking comment right here. Death Stranding is the birth of a new genre. Death Stranding is a masterpiece that could only be generated by a mind like the one that Hideo Kojima has. That's just a dick-sucking comment, honestly.
Yeah, it's not just Hideo Kojima. Like, it's not just him. He's not the one doing everything. There's so many people behind it.
And I have to wonder, like, had this game been made by an indie company, do you think that this would have the same reviews? Probably not. It'd probably have horrible reviews because honestly, I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can actually see. Do you have royal blood? Your last name may tell you. Anyways. Anyways, I think like the thing is like a lot of people are talking about the game and saying like, yeah, the gameplay sucks. It's boring. The game is boring. It's a walking simulator. It's fetch quests. But they're like, but it's a masterpiece and it does so much, for the history of games. Well, what the fuck does that mean? Is the game fun or not? If the game's not fun, then why the fuck play it? Why play it? If it's not fun, don't play it. Who said that? Wasn't that fucking... It was Reggie. If the game's not fun, why bother? Okay? Seriously.
I'm reading one of Critical Hit right now.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he's saying... Death Stranding starts off at a poor pace, but eventually blossoms into a captivating tale with intriguing themes. Solidified by compelling performances and an eventually satisfying pace to its gameplay. Not all of its systems mesh comfortably, but there's enough here to drive you towards the eventual picnic conclusion. So this one I can see being a little bit more critical, like their name, Critical Hit. Like I understand, like maybe the first few hours of your game are like very tedious. I can see that. I can totally see that in Death Stranding. Does it maybe pick up? Hopefully it does. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to get Death Stranding. Hopefully, like I hope it goes on sale at some point, and I'll probably then pick it up.
Yeah.
And just see what it's all about. But right now, the game hasn't really tickled my fancies. You know what I mean? And from what I've seen, it's just like it's not my type of game.
Part of me wants to get it just so I want to know for myself. You know what I mean? Like I want to see it for myself. I want to find out if this is really, if everybody is just just jerking off to Hideo Kojima, or if it's like actually worth the hype. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get you for sure.
Because I feel like there's no way to know because you're gonna get.
And these aren't even user reviews yet because the game isn't out. So like we could totally revisit this once the game actually comes out, because these are review sites. The game comes out in 5 days.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's not even out. I forgot. I forgot. Yeah, I just don't know. I've seen a lot of people talking about it, and I'm like, man, I don't know, dude. People have hyped this game up so much, which I feel like is a bad thing.
Well, what do you think about like let's say if Ninja streamed himself playing the game? Like, do you think the way the games? So what I'm trying to get at is like, how like Hideo Kojima there's like instantly like if Hideo Kojima makes a Pokemon game, there's going to be a huge influx of people. Obviously, this will never happen. A huge influx of people that are going to come in and start appreciating Pokemon a lot more now. You know what I mean? And this is going to be their favorite generation, the best generation. Like Pokemon, from the moment Hideo Kojima took Pokemon over, Pokemon has been revolutionized. It's the best thing ever. There's always there's going to be that fan base. Do you think it's the same way? Do you think there's going to be the same, or it is the same if a streamer streams a specific game and says that they love it? Do you think their influence is just as strong?
Oh yeah.
For example, Ninja. Do you think if Ninja streamed Death Stranding, you're like, oh my god, Death Stranding is the new hype game? You know what I mean? Like it's just single player, but just imagine, like.
Well, think about it this way. Remember when Ninja maybe it was like a year ago, I don't know. He was streaming Final Fantasy 11, which is an old MMO.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so old. Final Fantasy has another MMO that's newer, and they don't make those games every day. How much do you think their player count spiked how many people signed up for that game when he was streaming it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably a lot, though. Probably a decent amount. Probably more new players than they've ever had in the last 5 years, or maybe even 8 years. I don't know. A long ass time. That game's been out for forever. Maybe it was on the 360 early. So I think the weight that streamers have, it's like nowadays the way that games get like the way that they're marketed, it's like, you know, it's we're turning into this generation where, you know, indie games and stuff like that, you don't need a big budget and a big publisher and all this stuff. You just get your game, you make it, put that shit on Steam. If it's good, streamers will play it. That's free advertising. Your game blows up into the fucking stratosphere. You know what I mean? Like, games become so insanely popular that are not made by EA or fucking Bethesda or whoever, because it's like, as soon as a streamer picks it up, if it's good enough, everyone will buy it.
Yeah.
Like half of their audience, maybe. Especially if it's multiplayer. Like, it's done, dude. It's done. It's happened so many times, too. Like, all these indie companies have blown up because, you know, whether it's like a game like Celeste, which was really popular. That's not a multiplayer, it's a platformer, but still. Games like that, games like, I don't know, what's another one? I'm just drawing a blank right now, but there's plenty of them that I can't think of off the top of my head. I'm sure people are like, this one. But yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think, like, see, like, when you start reading these, they feel more
different, more grounded. Yeah.
Yeah, like this one. I cannot in good conscience recommend this game to all but the most rabid fans of Hideo Kojima's work. And even then, I feel like this game may cause some of them to balk and question their devotion. It pains me to say it, but Konami may have been a necessary evil for him, a check and balance against his crazier, more self-indulgent impulses, which I could totally see. I mean, it's just... If you do manage to hold out, you'll be rewarded with flashes of brilliance. It's just those flashes are buried as deep as the core story is buried in the endless dialogue. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about all that. It's just crazy. It's just weird, dude. It's weird.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite streamer right now?
Right now has been and probably will. I don't want to say always be, but for the most part, my favorite streamer is a guy named Soda Poppin'. I don't know if you know who that is.
I remember you telling me about Soda Poppin'.
He's been a streamer since before Twitch was even a thing. I think he's like slightly older than me, or he might even be younger than me. But he's been streaming forever since he was a teenager. And then, yeah. So he's like one of the original streamers, like, period. Yeah. But I just like his sort of like, I don't give a shit attitude towards streaming. It's just like, he streams when he wants to. He does what he wants to. He doesn't, you know, do that thing with his viewers, like, you know, where they're like, he doesn't let them give him shit, basically. And it's just kind of like, you guys are fucking dumb. Shut the fuck up. This is what we're doing. Like, because it's like, he's like, I know what you guys want. You guys say you want this. That's not what you want. Which happens all the time. If you ever streamed, you'll know. People are like, oh, do what you want. Do what you want. And then
that is not true.
And then you do it, and nobody fucking watches it. You know why? Because they don't want to watch that.
Yeah.
You know? And they just say they do.
Yeah. Right now, there's a bunch. I bet we could both name a bunch of streamers that we both like.
Also, yeah, but I'm just gonna Poke Laws.
Anyways, this guy.
Go ahead.
There's a lot of streamers that we could probably name. But right now, I'm like really, and I know you guys are gonna be like, oh, really? That's like so unoriginal, Curse. But listen to me out. I'm gonna go right now with like A Drive, for example, right?
Okay.
And the reason why I bring up the streamer stuff to you is because I like seeing how like content creators overall like cater to the audience in a way, right?
Yeah.
And how they know how to measure like the market and stuff. Again, this is like my business management and finance major side coming out. But like the reason why I bring up A Drive is the following: like you look at A Drive and you probably say, "Oh, you're a sellout," or you say, "Oh, you know." If you're going to talk negative about him, of course, you're going to say, you know, either you're a sellout, you know, you're like, I've heard people say he's a hypocrite. People try to start an argument with him. But the point I'm trying to make, and I'm not trying to like, you know, attack anybody here or anything, is that he he knows what his market is.
Oh, yeah.
He's in the market. He's playing Pokemon games. So he knows that the majority, and to get maximum exposure, you keep it PG. And a lot of content creators that do Pokemon content know that right now. You got to keep it PG. You can show it. And in general, like even YouTube right now wants to try to avoid going too dark or stuff like that. But for example, A-Drive. The reason why I bring him up, like I said, he's just now recently got the whole G Fuel shaker cups. He's got the partnership that he's always had with G Fuel. Yeah. But on top of all of that, it's just like when you hear him talk, it's different to when you hear him talk to the video or the stream. Like you'll hear him say, "Yo, what is going on?" Like his pitch, his voice, everything, the way he sells himself out to the audience is completely different, and he knows what his target audience is, right? But then you have people that don't necessarily know.
When I was clicking through, I forgot that was the stream where he was showing the spoilers. So I was like, no.
Oh,
I had to click back. My bad. I'll just go back to this.
But there's other content creators, and this is not like attacking anybody specifically in general, but that seem to be like in some sort of transitional phase where they don't necessarily know what they want to do or who they want to cater to. And this isn't just towards Pokemon content creators. It goes to anybody. And I kind of want to name out PokeAim because we're already in the A-Drive train. They've been working together a lot. Yeah. But like PokeAim, for example, you can tell by looking at PokeAim that he's not necessarily a PG guy. You know what I mean? But neither is A-Drive. I'm 100%. If you look at A-Drive like in person, there's going to be one F-bomb at one point. If he gets really mad, you're a person.
Well, he's done it. He's done it on stream on accident. I mean, if any of you guys are old school fans, you know that he used to not be PG. He used to be a professional Call of Duty player. He used to curse all the time. I remember when he got his male Combi is probably his most famous one where he's like, "Let's fucking go. I don't even care that I swore." Like that's one of my absolute favorite clips just because like it's just him losing it. And then even like a more recent one was Sun and Moon. He had come... Get out of here. My cat. Sorry, guys. He had walked in the room. Somebody else... It was their turn to stream. If you guys know how the marathons work, they go on shifts. He had come in. He was talking to, I think, Crimson Seabad. And he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm just really fucking tired." And I picked up on the mic, and he was like, Alolan Dan's kind of tired, so he's going to go. But,
but that's the thing. Like, he's obviously worked and catered his content to fit that mold because it's like a business. He's done a really good job of marketing his stuff. He's been a really good job at mastering his craft and pushing it forward. Other people, I'm not trying. Pokemon's been in the game for a long time too.
Yeah, but
right now I feel like he's in a place where he's doing really good, like really really good, and blowing up. But he's still like his channel's blowing up, but his content is in a transitional phase, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's for A-Drive, his transition into like being PG with Pokemon and stuff, it ended up being perfect because, I mean, a couple years later, the Adpocalypse would hit, and they started cracking down on all non-PG content, and he was already there with a slew of PG content. So, I mean, like, he was right on the money as far as, like, when that wave of, like, hey, we have to make everything PG now. I mean, even people like PewDiePie are making their stuff PG. So it's like he was right there, had it done already, and now a lot of people are struggling to figure out, how do we stay within these guidelines,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and that makes a lot of that's 100% true. And getting back to the Pokemon thing, like he does a really good job with the podcast that he does. He does a really good job with all the content he pushes out. But I feel like for viewer side, and again, this is not any sort of negative attack or anything. Because he's doing way better than you and me, way better than anybody that we know.
I don't even think I'm in a competition to be.
There's no competition at all. Right?
I'm not even considered in that conversation. Let's just put it that way.
But he's in this transitional phase where like it's kind of like not necessarily make it or break it, but like in terms of some viewers for now, for like the foreseeable future, it's kind of like make it or break it.
Well,
you
he's
drop
sort of...
a little.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, I'm just saying you drop a lot of F-bombs right now for Sword and Shield release. A bunch of kids are going to fall off. If you don't necessarily if you sound too kid friendly, you're going to lose a lot of the adult audience. And if you're a competitive player, you get a lot of those teenager adult audience. You know what I mean?
Well, it's interesting to see like how, one of the things about A-Drive is he has a tendency to like put his friends up, lift his friends up, the people around him that he works with. He brings them up. Personally, I found A-Drive through Munching Orange, actually. And then sort of watched A-Drive blow up and then bring other people with him. So people like Crimson Seabad, people like that. I'm not even gonna mention the other dude. Definitely I Am. Patty Trills. Patty Trills worked with a lot of people though. He's worked with Game Boy Luke. He's worked with Hoodlum Callum, Duncan, all those guys. Which personally, a big fan of all of them. But yeah, I think like it'll be interesting to see because I feel like somebody like Patty Trills, when he did the marathon, I would have loved to see him get more attention. Because he definitely deserves it, in my opinion. He's really entertaining and just a really like down to earth guy. But he's also not a PG content creator. He did a good job during the marathon.
He did a really good job.
Yeah, but I'm interested to see like this guy, the PokeAim guy. He's been working with A-Drive with the WBE. He's also doing. They're doing that series together for that like randomizer weird shiny thing.
It's a cage lock.
So he's sort of building up that he's mixing audiences, and now he's going into the marathon that they're doing, and it'll be interesting to see if he can carry that by himself once all is said and done. And they're not working because they're not going to work together forever. I mean, eventually he's going to have to go and do his own thing. So it'll be interesting to see if he decides like, okay, now's the time to be PG and try to take this as far as I can, because like in the past we've seen like somebody like Patty who after the marathon was killing it, tried to get partnered on Twitch, couldn't get partnered because they were like, well, you just did the marathon, because they know, they watch this shit, they know. They were like, you just did the marathon, this is a weird spike. Let's kind of see how it plays out in a couple months. And then, nowadays he streams, he gets like 30 viewers. Nothing against Patty. I think he's fantastic.
I think he deserves partnership, to be honest, but yeah.
He does. I really genuinely believe that. Like, I really wish that he could just get more views, honestly. If you haven't checked him out, please go check him out. He's fantastic. But yeah, I think like this guy, I mean, he's sort of, PokeAim has a bigger audience than Patty to begin with, though. No? Like, I believe he does.
Yeah. He can carry a bunch of people through. Like he's done a bunch of stuff. He's done stuff with Shofu, and that's just a big name right there, right off the bat. He's been in the game for a few years. It's not like he's just come out of nowhere either. Like people might, that's the thing. That's the thing. A lot of people, you ask them about PokeAim, and they'll be like, yeah. If you're a competitive player, or if you've seen Shofu, if you've seen Cyphers, you've seen any of like that, or if you follow him directly, you know who PokeAim is. But if you're coming off of like your regular LP guy that, you've watched an LP here and there, or you're trying to look for like the big names, you don't think of PokeAim necessarily in the general scope of Pokemon.
And I find that like,
you think Shady Penguin, you think A-Drive, Shofu, Munching Orange are like big names that you originally
is a
think.
weird one too, because
Shady has been falling off a lot.
Well, he stopped doing Pokemon content
a
long time ago. I remember A-Drive did a playthrough with him back when he was really doing it, and he does his own thing now, which I can respect. He's been in the game for a long time. People like him, people like Munching Orange, people like the Jay Witz. I mean, the Jay Witz is making a comeback, dude. He just put out a video today for his 10-year anniversary. That shit was funny as hell. I love that. Dude, I've been watching Jay Witz forever. Him and Munching Orange. And there's a lot of new guys coming up that are just like, they're making, the Pokemon content creation space is packed to the brim with people. If we're being honest, it's one of the most oversaturated fields of content on YouTube, on Twitch, wherever. So it's hard to stand out. So you get people like I don't want to say newer guys because I don't know exactly when they started, but people that I've noticed more so in the last 2 years. People like True Green 7, who somehow managed, like, people have been making like 10 Pokemon facts you didn't know videos forever, okay? Ever. And it's always like Pokedex entries and shit like that. And somehow someone like True Green 7 can come along and make a video. He makes videos about Pokemon, like, where they stem from their origins and shit, and it's completely original, and it's shit you can't find in any other video. I'm like, how does this guy do this? Like, how does he pulls up, like, the mythology, like, this is based on this Japanese mythology character, da-da-da-da-da. These are based on, like, whatever, but it's, like, all really hyper-original content. He does all these really, really good videos. Like, it's just crazy that, like, we're this far along, and there's still people coming out that are, like, still insane and doing stuff that's, other people aren't doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of content creators really coming out right now, and especially in the Pokemon field.
Yeah.
You have, and this, I'm personally a big fan of United Gamer. I don't know if you know who he is. He used to do a bunch of Dark Souls tutorials and Dark Souls videos, right? Yeah. And I'm over here, like, that's when I was subbed to him, like, back then. And then all of a sudden I see him doing Pokemon stuff, and he's playing with Game Boy Luke and everything. I'm like, wait a second. So, like, there's a bunch of people coming up, and he has a group of friends, like a circle of friends, which is like King Corfish, the original 151, which is Vinny, and Ryan, or King Corfish is Ryan, Asteroid. They all, or not all of them, Dylan, Ryan, and King Corfish. Did I say it right? I messed their names up, but Asteroid, Ryan, and United, they all live in Georgia. They live really close to each other. I think they're neighbors, right?
Yeah, don't they live on the? Oh, this is that group that like lives on the same street, right?
They live, yes, that's a group of people. And then Vinny, the Vinny lives like in New York or something like that. But they're such a tight knit group. They've done almost every single game together, like every single game there is in either a 3-way versus, a versus, a co-op, or whatever amongst themselves. And they have such good chemistry together that they can, like, it's just so good to see. And it just goes to show that there's so many Pokemon content creators out there, but there's so many different, I guess, bubbles of content creators. Like, these guys do this thing, these guys do this other thing, you guys got the original content over here. And then to like wrap up the whole point with the whole PokeAim A-Drive thing, A-Drive is looking at it as a business. PokeAim is I feel like structuring himself specifically in what he wants to do. We know he's a competitive beast. We know he does a lot of competitive content, a lot more, I want to say non-PG-esque content, but dipping down to PG a little bit. So you know what I mean? So you get that monetization thing going. So it's interesting to see where he's going in that transition phase, but then you got like the more friendly, United, all those people. So it's really interesting to see where we got all this stuff.
Well, it's crazy because like there's people like, have you seen a guy named PerkHaze Yellow, I believe?
No.
So he does videos where like he does Pokemon content where he shows you like how you can like break the game. Essentially, like not break it, but lock it. He can put you in an infinite lock to where you can't progress at all. And it's really interesting. It sounds kind of basic, I guess, on the surface, but like it's very, very interesting how you can like screw up a save file. I mean, you have to really try to do it. You can't do it on accident, but people like him. There's another guy named John Stone who's been blowing up lately that I've been watching for a couple months now, and he does all these videos. I'm looking at him right now. He does videos like how easily can you catch every Pokemon in Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald, or he does like 24 hours. Can you catch all 150 Pokemon in the original games without glitches in 24 hours? Or he'll play like all the games at one time. Stuff like that. Like, it's crazy. I mean, the guy puts in hours and hours and hours, like, on these videos. And it's just insane. Like, the space is just, I think what it is like, when it first started, it was just like, okay, we're just going to do Pokemon content, like normal stuff. But as time has gone on, I mean, we're probably, like, over 10 years past the point when people started probably first making Pokemon content. And, like, people have evolved to make content. I'm sure this exists in like every community, but just to make it on a whole different level, to make it fresh and new, and the fact that it's still happening,
it's really competitive. It's really competitive, so you have to stand out somehow, so it's going to constantly evolve.
It's just I don't know how people do it. Speaking of constantly evolving.
Oh yeah.
This is good. This is a terrible segue. Are you done on that? I don't mean to like cut you off if you had something you want to say about it.
No, basically I was just gonna say no, nothing. I was done.
Okay.
It's constantly evolving.
Better be. Constantly evolving. People who need to constantly evolve. Jared Leto.
Oh, my God.
So last podcast, we talked about Jared Leto. No, we didn't. We talked about the Joker. Sorry.
We talked about the Joker, but not the Jared Leto Joker. The new one. Joaquin,
by the way, is one of my absolute favorite actors. I think he's phenomenal in so many movies.
Name 3. I'm just kidding.
Signs.
Name 3 is not Gladiator or
swing
Joker.
Swing away. Splash him with the water. I forget what his name was in that movie. And they were like, because it would be like swing away, Meryl. His name's Meryl. His name is Meryl. Pokemon all around, dude.
Oh yeah, it always comes back to Pokemon somehow. You know what I mean? Might as well just make this a Pokemon podcast.
It's like it's called Foul Play for a reason.
Right?
So, anyways, this is kind of old news, but basically, do you have the link?
No, I don't.
Well, I couldn't open it even if you did. So basically, Jared Leto threw a tantrum over the new Joker movie. Essentially, he was pretty pissed because when they signed him on for Suicide Squad, apparently they were like, oh, you're gonna get your own movie, and like, you're gonna be part of this franchise, da 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 da. And then come to find out, they were like, you kind of suck though. People didn't really like you. Damaged.
Yeah. So the whole situation with like Jared Leto's Joker is kind of iffy because I feel like it had so much potential.
Really? Because I feel like you're the oddball for thinking that.
I might be, but I personally think so. All right, so hear me out, right?
Yeah, I'm listening. Open-minded here.
So 30 Seconds to Mars, listen to their music, appreciate it. I've seen a lot of their music videos. And I'm like, okay.
Oh man, the Shining one. The Shining one.
What do you mean the Shining one?
There's the 30 Seconds to Mars video. What's that song that they?
There's a bunch of weird ones. There's a bunch of weird.
Well, they did one that was like based on The Shining, and it was really good. Really good video.
Well, I've seen a lot of weird videos from them too. So that's why when they cast him the first time for Joker, I was like, okay, I can see where this is going.
Yeah.
Then when we saw the picture with the damage on the forehead, I was like, what the fuck? Like,
well, it doesn't need to be so damn blatant. Like people know the Joker's fucked up.
But but then I was like, okay, so let's give it a shot, right?
Yeah, it's not like he picked the design. I mean,
exactly, or maybe he did have some sort of input. But I was like, So did you see the original concept that they wanted to have like I think it was ha and damage like tattooed to his eyebrows?
Shut the fuck up, really?
Yeah, I believe so. No. So instead of the forehead, so they moved to the forehead, which I think honestly is better.
I gotta look this up.
Yeah, look it up. I think you can find it. I'm not sure, but just
original...
look it up. Jared Leto Joker concept, I guess. Maybe it pops up like that, so people can see. Maybe I saw a picture of this the other day, and I don't know where I saw it from, but I don't think you'll find it. How about this one? Let's see what this was. It.
This is so bad, dude.
Did you find it?
Look at this. I know, but
oh no. So listen, right? I might be the only one that think that has potential, right? That like his tattoo on his hand of the mouth and doing that has so much potential. I think the damage in the forehead, nasty. Screw that, throw it away. And I feel like even if you do tattoo something on your forehead, there has to be a story behind it. So now I'm intrigued with the story. You know what I mean? And at the same time, it seemed like that was a Joker post, like, I don't know, messing up. Like, I forgot the name of the Robin that was killed, but you get it, right?
Oh, spoilers. I'm just kidding.
That's not really spoilers. But anyways, the point is not even that. The point is, I personally feel that in the Suicide Squad, like the lines, the time that they gave the Joker was unnecessary. You didn't need the Joker in the movie at all. And because you cast the Joker in there, you're bound to get bad rep on that Joker, regardless of who was playing it. You know what I mean? I think that was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Did he deserve an opportunity? I feel like he did. I feel like he deserved one opportunity, like one other opportunity that was not Suicide Squad, to see where that would go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's sort of where he was coming from. Was like, you guys said this was going to be a thing. Now it's not. Now you're doing a Joker movie, and now you're not putting me in it. And I think maybe, but I think the thing is like, I don't know. I just think overall, Joaquin Phoenix is a better actor.
Oh no, definitely, hands down. And I'm not sitting here trying to defend like Jared Leto's Joker, saying, "Oh, he's in the top 2." No, no,
he's not.
As it stands right now, probably. He's not even the Joker because he didn't even. To me, I wanted to see him perform as a Joker. He didn't even get to put the costume on. That's the way I'm seeing it right now. You know what I mean? Because I'm not counting 10 minutes in a movie.
He's basically as much of. Oh well, I was gonna say something that would have been stupid. I was gonna say he's basically as much of like the Joker as Deadpool was. Ryan Reynolds was Deadpool prior to the actual movie coming out.
Prior to the movie, exactly.
He was in the elevator with Wolverine, right? Is that, if I'm remembering correctly? And so he's in the movie for like all of 5 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have a suit on.
No, and at the final villain in that movie is Deadpool.
Is it?
Yeah, the guy that has a mouth sewn together. That's Deadpool.
Oh no, is it?
Yes.
Dude, yes. I haven't seen that movie in a fucking long time.
It's been a while, but that's the same equivalent, right? So you can't really count that as Deadpool.
Yeah.
So I feel like they like better writing, just maybe giving him a focus, but he didn't deserve like Joker. You could do Suicide Squad without Joker, and Suicide Squad in itself was a mess. So, I don't even count that. But the point is, I can see him coming from this side, saying, "Hey, you guys didn't even give me a chance. What the fuck?" You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm upset. Like, I'm going to try to block this movie because I think I deserve this shot. I can see that, not necessarily understand it, because at the same time, like, WB's like Warner Brothers is just scratching everything in DC,
Yeah.
like everything, like Batman.
They basically just ended everything, and we're like, all right, we're starting fresh.
Yeah, like
Because Ben
Ben Affleck is gone.
He's done.
We got Robert Pattinson now as Batman. You know, Wonder Woman was completely delayed, and they did a bunch of reshoots, and they're changing the tone to the movie.
So
like, it might as well be a new movie.
Robert Pattinson's gonna be the new Batman.
Yes,
I heard about this. That's actually legit.
Yes, that is legit. Like, he's cast. It's legit.
I think
Commissioner Gordon has been cast as well. He's an African American lad, older lad.
Do you know who it is?
Sir, I forgot his name. His name. Well, but I can already see people attacking when they see Batgirl. But
I think like the Robert Pattinson thing. I think a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's fucking Twilight." Ugh.
Yep.
But it's like he has been in other stuff. Like he's in that movie Remember Me, and I personally thought that he was really good in that movie. I actually thought he was okay in Twilight, even though you could feel how much he didn't want to be in those movies.
You can tell that he didn't really want to be there.
And
but
the other thing is like, unless you read the books, which I did in high school or middle school.
Yeah.
I read the books. I did. They were actually really good. Not gonna lie, they were really good. Much better than the movies.
Okay.
There's a lot more like mythological shit in them, I guess. Anyways, It doesn't matter. But he played the character exactly how he was supposed to. I mean, whether or not that character is good, that's debatable. But he did play the character well. He played it the way that he was written in the book. Looks like him. I mean, it felt like there was a perfect transition from book to movie.
Yeah.
If you don't like that transition or the character, that's not really his fault. He's just acting in the movie. But he is a good actor, and I think like he's gonna need to beef up a little bit though to be Batman. I feel like.
Apparently, but to finish with the Joker Jared Leto thing, like he was just upset. He wanted to block the movie from happening. He was really mad about the whole thing, and they just said, fuck you, you're not Joker anymore. Deal with it.
Yeah, basically. And
basically.
Yeah, they just kind of were like, yeah, fuck you. That's what you said. Sorry, I don't mean to like. Well,
you're stepping on my shoes, man.
Are you gonna block my movie now?
I'll block your movie. I'll block this podcast from happening.
I don't know, dude. Hey, have you heard about the supposed Spider-Man Venom movie?
It's supposed to happen, especially with the whole situation.
I mean, like, I've heard mixed things on the Venom movie. I heard it was good, but like, it's not Marvel level good.
I can't really talk about this because I know information and I know people in it. So.
You can't talk about whether or not it's good?
No, I mean, I can talk about whether or not it's good or if I think it's going to be good, but I can't really go into details.
Oh, okay.
A bunch of stuff.
See, Curse knows people that work on movies.
I actually know people, like I actually know people and have worked with people, and I can say this, that are like direct stunt doubles and stunt coordinators as well.
Because you're a martial arts
background, trying to think,
right?
Because of my martial arts background, correct. And I'm talking way back, but I still know them, and I still know them. I can't say anything else other than that. So I know where I get my info from. That's pretty much it. But
anyways,
the Spider-Man and Venom thing, if it does happen, right?
Yeah.
I think it's good, and
it's gonna have to be good. I think that's the thing. It's like it's the Spider-Man half of it is going to bring the Venom half up to par.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like if you're trying to bring Spider-Man and Venom together, I'm assuming you're going to be going with like the Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Oh, absolutely. They have to. At this point, I think Tom Holland has been and is probably for most people the best Spider-Man that's ever been done, which I would agree with.
I agree with that as well. And with that being said, he's already done since 2015, 16? Since 2016 with Civil War.
Yeah.
So it's 2019, 2020 next year. You've already seen him growing a little bit, and I think he's like a year younger than me. Maybe he's like 24, maybe 25 now, 23 maybe at the youngest.
Yeah.
He's not that old. So.
No.
You can not make up him that much to make him look younger. Rather, keep him the way he's supposed to look right now, and it'll look like he's been aging. Buff him out a little bit, just a little bit, to make him look of the age that he's supposed to be. And now you have a more adult Spider-Man dealing with Venom and stuff. That would be amazing.
Well, the thing
and then
is,
carry on the timeline from there.
He's been in 5 movies at this point as Spider-Man. So he's been in Civil War, the Avengers movies, 2 Avengers movies, and his two Spider-Man movies. So 5 movies in total, which is a lot. That's more than any other actor has played Spider-Man.
Yep.
Realistically. I mean, because Tobey Maguire had 3, and what's his name? Andrew Garfield had 2.
Had 2. Yep.
Which I think those Andrew Garfield movies were the worst, honestly.
Man,
I think Spider-Man, like Tobey Maguire, the one thing that I really didn't like about those movies is Kirsten Dunst, who plays.
Yeah, Kristen. Yeah.
I think she's
Mary Jane.
god awful. I hate her. I think she was horrible in that movie, and she just.
I just hate Venom's interpretation of like. I feel like you could have done Spider-Man 3 without Venom, and we're
well,
like that would have
the guy
been
who played
a great
Sandman
movie.
was so fucking good. He was so good. He's like the only person who wanted to be in that movie.
Yeah, I feel it.
And but anyways, so going back to the whole Spider-Man thing, I think like especially because like I don't know, every game, every movie that comes out, it's always Spider-Man origin story. We know what the fucking origin of Spider-Man is. We know every iteration of it at this point. You know, I was so happy when I put Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4 into my PS4, started playing it, and found out this is an experienced Spider-Man who has been Spider-Man for a while, and he knows his powers. He's not a newbie. It's not the origin story. It's an original story, and it's not him just figuring it out. Like, he's already done this. Like, it was so refreshing to, like, and I didn't even realize it was something I wanted until it happened because I'm just so damn used to it. It's like every single time you play Spider-Man, it's an origin story or it's retracing things we've already seen. But this was like a fresh take, and it was just so good. Like, it was so good. That story is like movie worthy. Have you played it?
Yeah, I've played it. I platinumed the game.
Like, it's so good.
It's
honestly.
amazing. I just want Into the Spider-Verse to implement him.
I haven't seen that movie yet.
You haven't seen it? You got to watch it. The sequel is coming out 2022.
I think it's on Netflix, right?
It is.
It was.
It is.
Yeah, I need to
I
see
saw it
that.
last night with my son.
But I think, but yeah, I think that Venom and Spider-Man together could be really good, especially if they make it where like, because Venom is this weird character where he's kind of like an anti-hero, sort of.
Yeah.
In different, well, it depends because like there's obviously a million iterations of Venom.
There are. Dude.
There's iterations where he's a villain. There's iterations where he's the hero, like just straight up a hero, and then there's like all the in betweens. So it'll be interesting to see what take they. I haven't seen the Venom movie, the first one, so I don't.
You haven't seen the first Venom movie?
No, I haven't.
I don't know what is wrong with you. You're about to end this podcast right now, and you're gonna have to go sit down and watch Venom.
I guess I do. I don't watch a lot of movies, to be honest. Like
I'm
I watched one horror movie all Halloween. Did you watch any?
Horror movies?
Yeah.
I watched It too. That doesn't really count as a horror. It counts as
I haven't
like
seen the
comedy
new
to me.
ones. I haven't seen It 1 or 2.
Oh my god! And the podcast, dude.
Have you seen the original?
I've seen the original, and I've
Original's
seen
so
the two new ones.
I love the original so much. Is it worth watching? Is it better than the original or like?
So obviously when I saw the originals, I was younger, so it's scarier in my
Yeah,
like.
well,
you know what
I mean the
it's just
the
kind of like
practical effects are not as good in the original now.
It's kind of like. It just depends. Like, it's not the same when you see it before. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you see it and how old you are when you see it and whatever. I think the new ones are really good. Yeah. I don't think they're out there like the best movies in the world. I really enjoyed the first one. I think I enjoyed the first one more than the second, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the second is really long, surprisingly long. It's almost up to Avenger time frame. It's like 2 hours and 40 minutes.
That's wild.
It's like for a horror movie, and I was like, whoa, what time is it? Like, but yeah.
I felt that way the other night. I watched a movie called Apostle.
Okay.
It's on Netflix if you guys want to check it out. It's not the best movie I've ever seen, but it's definitely good enough to like recommend. But it was in the horror category, and I mean, it's not, in my opinion, it's not really a horror. It's more like a thriller. And it's made by a guy who normally directs action movies. So there is some action in it, not like crazy or anything, but there's not a lot of, the thing is like there's not a lot of gore in the movie, but when there is gore, it's like the worst. It's so incredibly like bad. Like it's just really, it's fucking, I don't want to spoil it in case anybody wants to watch it, but it's essentially about a guy. It takes place in like Gothic era Europe, I guess. And it's about a guy who's from a rich family and his sister gets kidnapped for ransom by a cult that lives on an island, essentially. They're like a religious group, cult, you know, whatever you want to.
It's always a religious group or a cult.
Yeah, but... so, and basically what happens is he infiltrates that group to get her back. And there is some like fantasy elements to it. So it's not just like it's not like a realistic take on the situation. There are like fantasy aspects to the movie. But I recommend it. It's pretty good. I don't want to say too much more because like you can't really say a whole lot about it without spoiling it, but it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
I wish I would have watched more stuff. I started watching Get Out with Nicole and one of her friends, and as soon as have you seen the movie?
I've been wanting to watch it.
Okay, so as soon as the movie, like literally, there's one part where like it's on. You know what I mean? Like the turning point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, if you've seen the trailer, you know exactly what the movie's about. But the turning point where you're like, oh shit, it's going down. Like as soon as that happened, I fell asleep. Like as soon as that happened, I waited the whole movie for it to like to get to the point where it was like,
and then you just fell asleep.
Like this shit's about to go down, and then it did, and I fell asleep. And I'm so mad because I like really want to know what happens.
But you sound just like a dad. You know what I mean? You haven't watched like 15 movies that you should have. You know, you're out here falling asleep in movies when you shouldn't.
Well, dude, honestly, when it comes to like Marvel shit, I haven't seen most of the movies because I don't fucking care that much.
Oh.
There's so many of them. Like, fuck
It's your fault for not watching them when they come out. If you would watch them when they come out, you'd be good. You'd be good.
Dude,
it takes you one movie.
Part of it is because I don't want to pay for the movies, and two is because I hate going to the movie theaters. 4 out of the 5 times that I've gone to the fucking movies, in the last 5 times I've gone, 4 times people don't shut the fuck up in the movie theater. And I fucking hate it. It drives me crazy.
Have you gone to matinees?
Yes, and I went to see Dragon Ball Super, and of course the 2 fucking kids sitting next to me, one of them has already fucking seen the movie, the other one doesn't, so I gotta listen to this little shithole.
Goku's gonna tear Super Saiyan now, watch out!
Hey man, this is like my favorite part. Oh, like shut the fuck up, asshole! I want to fucking watch the movie. God damn it, I hate people.
You live in a bad place then.
Yeah, like I went in the middle of the day, I took off work. I mean, I still enjoyed the movie, but it's like, I'd rather just watch them at home, and at that point, I just don't care. Because it's like, when the Avengers and all that shit was happening, it was like, okay, I can watch 5 movies that really have no real relevance to when the Avenger comes out, because when it comes out, they're all still there. So obviously, any sort of suspense is pretty much gone.
Yeah,
and then I watched the
mostly
Avengers.
for the inside jokes.
Yeah, so then when Avengers comes out, I watch that, and it's like, cool, I'm caught up. I don't have to waste my time watching all these other fucking movies.
This guy.
And I'm like, where's Thor's eye?
Well, you didn't watch the other movie,
I know he loses it in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
I guess. I assume, because that's the only other movie he's in before,
his eye comes off.
Before that movie comes out. Yeah. So, through context clues, we can conclude that Thor lost his eye during Ragnarok, okay? This is how I watch Marvel movies. I watch the ones where they're all in it. Those are the ones that I watch, and then I use context clues to piece together all the rest of it.
No, that's not how it works.
Oh, I feel like I watched.
It's like playing through. Let's say, like, I don't know, dude. You're playing through games that you really like. I can't say Final Fantasy because they don't matter. Let me think of something that actually matters that you have to play one behind the other or something. It's so fucking hard. Though.
THX. Like THX. You okay, Soldier Boy?
I don't know, but just forget it. Think of a game that has like a really good story. Think about The Last of Us, right? Cut The Last of Us in half and make it 2 games. I haven't
played that.
What?
Okay, I didn't play that game.
Think about Spider-Man, the game.
I haven't played that.
And cut it. You just told me you were playing the Spider-Man game. Cut that Spider-Man game in half and make it 2 games, Spider-Man 1 and 2. And let's say you just pick up Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Don't you think you need some context?
No, man, I've seen all the Spider-Man movies. I know what's going on.
No, you don't. No, there's no way with the ending of Spider-Man that you knew. No.
No, I know. No, I think a better example of that would be like the Walking Dead games, like the Telltale games.
Yeah,
if you picked up the second one, yeah, it technically starts from like a different part, but you'd have none of the background.
You'd be like, what the fuck just happened?
You know what I mean? Well, it's in an easier context. It'd be like if you started watching Game of Thrones and then you just started on like season 4. You'd be like, oh, what the fuck?
So as we're recording this, apparently the game's actually leaked. The Pokemon Sword and Shield games.
Wait, in what way? like completely?
I think we just got to end the podcast today and get into this and record another one another time for people. But apparently the game's leaked. I don't know how true it is or not. I kind of want to dig into it.
Wait, like, is it? Okay, so in what format do you mean? Like the file is out?
I don't know if the file's out, but they're putting stats. And for you to put stats,
shit.
you need to get stuff.
Wow. All right, guys. Well, I would imagine, like, honestly, by the time
I think
Curse is
Steve
like, "Let me
Jobs
check
heard
my
me.
watch here."
Steve Jobs told me that his quantum computer finally finished processing the.
Steve Jobs is dead, dude. Have some respect.
That's the freaking point. God damn it.
He's from the extraterrestrial realm.
Jesus Christ.
So
this guy and the jokes go.
I don't know. That's why I got my hat on.
Don't get cut on the way up there. Okay.
Yeah, so I think there's a good chance that there won't be a podcast for a little bit, just because Sword and Shield come out in a couple days, and obviously, if you guys are on my channel, you know I make Pokemon content, and it's gonna be all about Sword and Shield
project together. So
yes. So there is a chance that we record a podcast next weekend because we're still going to be a week out from the games, but no promises. So we will see you guys when we see you. Hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to check out Curse down below. I mean, you probably already have since he's got, fucking 600 times more subs than I do. Oh, by the way, real quick, I guess, since I haven't said it on video, thank you for 50 subs. I really appreciate it. Guys, if you haven't,
look at you.
Recommend the podcast to your friends and family.
Show it to your mom. We're friendly.
Show it to your mom.
I think your mom would appreciate looking at us. Hi, Mom.
And don't forget to subscribe. I'd appreciate it. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.